If you feel stiff when you get out of bed in the morning, inflamed or achy, even though you work out and you're trying to follow a healthy diet, keep listening because so many women over 40 start feeling like their body changed overnight. Your joints start to hurt. You feel puffy, recovery takes longer, and your body just feels off. So let's talk about what's going on. Number one, hormonal changes matter way more than you think. Yes, when you're in perimenopause, as you know, if you've been listening, estrogen starts to fluctuate and eventually declines. That's when you're in menopause. Your estrogen is pretty much flatlined. So many women notice more stiffness, aches, inflammation, frozen shoulder, or even things like plantar fasciitis. It's a fun time, right? Because estrogen is actually anti-inflammatory and protective. Even though in the online space, especially, it gets a bad rap. And if you've listened to my episodes before, you know how much that grinds my gears because estrogen is a fantastic hormone. We all need it. I know I couldn't live without it. It supports your joints, connective tissue, collagen, muscle recovery, and even your pain perception. And when hormones start to shift, many women suddenly feel older in their body. You may say things like, gosh, I feel like an old lady. This is why a lot of women do notice improvement when they go on hormone replacement therapy. I use it myself. I advocate for it. I educate clients on it. It helped with my own pain drastically. I started my perimenopause symptoms in my late 30s and they were loud. But one of the biggest symptoms that I dealt with was debilitating pain. And I had it for a while and nothing I did helped until I started to support my hormones. So for many women, supporting their hormones by replenishing them can greatly improve joint pain, recovery, sleep, mood, and of course, overall quality of life. All right, the second thing is you may be under eating protein and carbs or just fueling really poorly. And I see this all the time. You're going to hear me talking about it more and more here. Women are eating things like salads, yogurt, maybe a smoothie here or there, and wondering why they feel weak, achy, or can't recover from their workouts. By midlife, your body needs more support, not less. Protein becomes incredibly important for muscle maintenance, recovery, blood sugar stability, reducing cravings, and supporting your metabolism. And carbs become incredibly important as well for your energy, reducing fatigue, supporting your metabolism as well. Your thyroid health, muscle recovery, and performance. Yes, we need both, especially if you're strength training. Better sleep, especially reducing those middle of the night wake ups. A lot of women say they wake up at 2, 3 in the morning. Yes, hormones play a role, but if you're not eating properly, if you're not fueling well throughout the day, that can absolutely impact your sleep. And then they also help to prevent cravings, overeating, and those blood sugar crashes that we don't want. And no, this doesn't mean that you're eating processed carbs all day long. It means learning how to include the right amount of quality carbohydrates for your body, your activity level, and goals without fear. So in a nutshell, underfueling can increase stress in your body, and many women are unintentionally under eating protein, carbs, calories in general. They're overdoing fasting or afraid of food because diet culture told us that carbs are bad, and your 40s are not the time to underfuel, especially if you're an active woman, which I hope you are. All right, number 3, muscle loss is very real and it impacts everything. I've talked about this before and I will continue to drive this point home. After 35, 40, we naturally begin losing muscle. It actually starts a little earlier, especially if we are not intentional about building it. So less muscle means slower metabolism, right? Nobody wants a slow metabolism. We all want a fast metabolism. More aches and pains, less stability and resilience, poor blood sugar balance, and feeling softer or weaker in general. This is why strength training matters so much in midlife because muscle is very protective. It helps you age better, feel stronger, and often helps reduce that pain and stiffness as well. The fourth thing is your workouts cannot undo sitting all day. So what do I mean by that? You can absolutely work out for 45 minutes a day and still actually be a sedentary person. I see this often. Women do their morning workout or afternoon workout, they check off that box, and then they sit for most of the day, right? They're either working, they're driving, they're scrolling, they're watching TV. I feel so embarrassed to say this, but Mike and I are watching Off Campus right now. One of my friends got us hooked on it. And I'm like, ugh. I said to Mike, I'm like, we cannot sit in front of the TV for too long. We could do like 1 or 2 episodes and then that's it. We got to get up and move around. Yeah, I could be a little bit of a a drill sergeant around here. Anyway, when you're sitting all the time and then you wonder why you feel stiff, achy, or inflamed, think about it, right? Our bodies need to be moving. We were designed to move more than once per day. And of course, modern day living has not helped that. Movement really does matter for your joint health. It improves circulation, supports mobility, reduces stiffness, helps lubricate your joints, it improves insulin sensitivity, and just helps your body feel better. And not just now, also for the long haul. And you may be even thinking, oh, I'm not thinking about, when I get old or the future, but you really should be, okay? If you want to age well and you want to feel good now, that's going to impact how you feel later on, okay? So put your big girl panties on and start making some of these changes. Now, this doesn't mean that you need harder workouts, okay? In fact, for many women in midlife, the answer is not more intensity. It's more everyday, consistent movement. Simple things like getting up every hour and walking around for a few minutes, taking the stairs instead of an elevator, parking farther away at the store, walking after your meals. This is super helpful for blood sugar balance, and tracking your daily steps. Now, I am not a huge fan of tracking every single thing, but there are some things that really can help us in midlife, like tracking your steps, maybe tracking your macros. I'll talk about that in another episode. These things tend to add up. I typically encourage women to aim for about 7,000 to 8,000 steps per day for general health purposes, but you may need more if fat loss or body recomposition is a goal. Body recomposition is essentially building lean muscle mass, which is what we'd want, and losing fat, which is what most of us want, right? That's what gives us that toned, lean look that we're all after. So consistent movement really does matter. All right, number 5. Sleep and stress, you've heard me say this before, affect your body more than you realize. Poor sleep changes everything. And I'm sure you know this if you're somebody who has struggled with sleep in the past or you're currently struggling with it. When your sleep tanks, inflammation goes up, recovery goes down, cortisol becomes more dysregulated, and then everything hurts you. I get it, okay? Women in midlife are carrying a lot. Trust me, I am too. Even though I don't have children, I got a lot going on, okay? But stress absolutely affects how your body feels. So start to assess where you can cut back, where you can start saying no to things, and create healthier boundaries. I know it's not fun and it can be really challenging when you're somebody who typically says yes to everything. You volunteer your time. You're the go-to person. But if you want to feel better, you need to start looking at that, okay? You cannot out-supplement chronic stress and poor recovery. All right, number 6, do not ignore thyroid health or key nutrients. If your body feels stiff or inflamed, it may also be really worth looking at your thyroid health. In fact, I believe all midlife women should have their thyroid properly assessed. Thyroid issues become more common in midlife, unfortunately, and can contribute to joint pain, fatigue, and overall sluggishness. And while I don't think we need to necessarily obsess over super complicated protocols, many women are also depleted in key minerals that keep the body functioning well. Things like magnesium, sodium, and potassium. You've heard me talk about these before. These support your energy, muscle function, stress resilience, hydration, sleep, and recovery. Listen, sometimes feeling better isn't about doing more. It's about supporting the basics better. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from this episode, it is this. Midlife health is less about doing more and more intensity, and it's really about doing the right things consistently, supporting your changing metabolism, eating enough protein, carbs, and fueling realistically, building strength and muscle, moving more throughout the day, prioritizing sleep and recovery, hydrating properly, better understanding and supporting your hormones, and creating habits that actually fit real life. And this is exactly why I'm creating something new this summer. I'm really excited about it. It's a 6-week live coaching experience for women over 40 who feel like their body has changed and want a more realistic approach to feeling energized, strong, and confident in your body again. Inside, we're going to cover things like how to support your metabolism in midlife, fueling properly for energy, mood, sleep, and better body composition, building lean muscle without killing yourself or living at the gym, why recovery and rest matters more than you think, HRT and even GLP basics without confusion, fear-mongering, or overwhelm, and a sustainable approach to feeling stronger and more confident in your body. No extremes, no all or nothing mindset, just smart, sustainable support for women who are ready to stop fighting their body and start working with it. If this sounds like something you would want to be a part of, I'm going to put the waitlist link in the show notes, so make sure you go get your name on there. And if this episode made you think of a friend who is surviving on salads and cardio while wondering why she feels exhausted and achy, please do send this episode her way. All right, I will see you next week. The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not, nor do I act as a doctor or any other medical professional. I am not providing healthcare, medical services, or attempting to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional disease or condition. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for the professional medical advice provided by your own medical or mental health provider.